Hey there, it's Gary Parrish. Welcome back to CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball podcast, where we sometimes discuss camel fighting, dodo birds, and leaky black. The Eye on College Basketball podcast is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Matt Norlander is here with me. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button like you're Brandon Davies. You have consent, and don't forget to also subscribe to the CBS Sports College Basketball YouTube channel while you're here. Let's get into it. It's now been 2 days since Louisville lost 75-63 at home to Arkansas State. It's now 2 days until Louisville plays its next game at home against Pepperdine. Deadleg, simple question. Do you expect Kenny Payne to coach Louisville against Pepperdine this weekend?
I can't answer that right now. You want to just you want to reboot and start over?
I would prefer you answer the questions.
I don't have that answer.
The best way, I was reading about podcast earlier, and it said the best way to do a podcast is somebody asks somebody a question and the other person answer it.
Yeah, some questions aren't answerable though. You know what I'm saying? Not every question in this world is answerable, and right now it's not answerable. If Kenny Payne will be coaching in that game on
Do
Sunday.
You think he will is answerable? Like, I'm just asking you what you think. What do you think, Deadleg?
I think he will. I think he will coach in that game. But
I accept your answer.
But from what I gather on this is there's a process that has begun that will lead to Kenny Payne's termination, barring things that frankly shouldn't be relevant at this point. What are we even doing here? Yeah, I think there's a chance that he doesn't get fired by Sunday. I think there's a chance he could be fired on Friday, frankly. But it has reached a point of truly no return with Louisville basketball and Kenny Payne. If you are the subject of an opening segment where your employment is under question on December 15th on a college basketball podcast, no good whatsoever. So, yeah, the Arkansas State loss was just the latest, and it came on the heels of a PR nightmare, frankly. Not nightmare, but disaster. When Karan Davis, they announced that he was going into the transfer portal, and then he tweeted out, "I never submitted any kind of paperwork to go into the transfer portal. I can't believe Louisville would put out a release like this. Yeah, it's disappointing." But then, as sometimes happens in these situations, frankly, the school was trying to cover for the player because then Louisville, this is all in the hours leading up to the game on Wednesday. Then the school had to come back and put out a release saying, actually, Davis was kicked off the team. So we wish him nothing but the best. And he has expressed his intent to continue his college basketball playing career elsewhere. So while trying to do him a favor, the player kind of was like, actually, I didn't do this. Well, if you're going to do that, you're going to expose us. Then we're going to actually say the reason why you're not playing. Then he goes to the game, sits in the stands by himself, and the KFC Yum Center didn't look more than 15% filled, maybe. Just a bad look overall, for whatever reasons that happened, however it happened. It was a microcosm of what this program has become under Kenny Payne. And now I think wheels are in motion to make a change. And the question is, behind the scenes from a, legal and all the proper protocol standpoint, will it be done by Sunday? Or some have suggested, don't put an interim out there and have him coach against Kentucky. I think it's actually the exact opposite, but whatever. After Kentucky, later next week, it's in 6 days from now, Louisville's got the Christmas break. And if you're going to make a change, maybe you make it then. So we're heading toward that, but I don't know what date's going to land.
Fewer people will mock your interim coach for getting his brains beat in by Kentucky than would mock Kenny Payne for getting his brains beat in by Kentucky. It's time to start thinking about this differently. If you've listened to this podcast for a while, I would have done this after last season. I would have pulled the plug after 1 year. Sometimes you just know. You can see it. And it wasn't just that Louisville didn't win very many games last season. It was how they lost them. It was how the entire program was being run. This sport is filled with people who are kind men, well-liked people, accomplished assistants who simply are not equipped to run major college basketball programs. And respectfully, in 32 games last season, I saw all I needed to see from Kenny Payne as it pertains to evaluating him to that standard. It was one blowout after another, one blowout after another. They finished 290th at KenPom, which was 85 spots lower than any other ACC school. 85 spots lower than anybody else in the ACC. And I talked to multiple ACC coaches last season, and I say all this respectfully. We're only talking about it because it's the thing to talk about, not trying to pile on. But they were like, listen, the roster is not good, certainly not the Louisville standards, but they shouldn't be losing like this. Like that roster should not be getting beat like this, and by the people who are beating it over and over again. 4-28 last season, 4-6 this season. So Kenny Payne's now 8-36 as Louisville's head coach, with one win over a top 150 KenPom team and 13 losses to sub 150 KenPom teams. At a place like Louisville, frankly, you should have 0 losses to sub 150 KenPom teams. He has 13 in 44 games. They're 203rd at KenPom right now. That's 33 spots than any other ACC team. So when I would, as the end of last season was approaching, suggest that they should go ahead and do this after 1 year, enough's enough. The most common thing I would hear is, well, you just can't do it. You just can't after 1 year. People have all these arbitrary rules of things you can and can't do, and this is one of them. Well, you can't fire somebody after 1 year. That's what people say. My question has always been simple. Why? Why can't you? If you know that this is bad and it's not going to get better, what is the point of continuing it? And then you'd hear things like, well, he's an alum and people love him and he helped us win a national championship as a player. He's also the first black coach in school history. That's a delicate topic. You just can't do it after 1 year. Okay, well, we'll talk again after year 2. And now we're not even to Christmas in year 2, and this is the conversation. People believed that pulling the plug after 1 year would be wildly disrespectful, cruel to Kenny Payne. I actually think we've now reached the point where the opposite is true. The cruel thing isn't to ask for his resignation and accept it. The cruel thing is to allow him to keep going out there and doing a job he's not equipped to do and humiliating himself in that program. I mean that sincerely. I'm not trying to be mean. It has become a laughing stock now. It has become a joke, a meme. Every time Louisville plays, Kenny Payne is trending on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Sometimes it's Kenny Payne, P-A-I-N.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think the nicest thing you could do for Kenny Payne right now, if you were the University of Louisville, if you really love him the way you say you do, the kindest thing you could do is tell him you're going to give him every penny you owe him and allow him to walk away from this disaster that he has created.
Yeah. We'll see how quickly Louisville can do that. This is not tenable long term. Kenny Dickey tweeted, by the way, Louisville, it's 12-point loss to Arkansas State, which had won just 3 games heading into that game. It was the first double-digit home loss by Louisville to a team with a losing record since 1963. So you go back 60 damn years, man, since we've had a loss statistically that could match what they did against Arkansas State. And right now, I think Kenny Payne is 4-4, 6-6. He's 500. He's won as many games as he's lost against mid-major competition, and he's into year 2. Not good whatsoever. He's lost 14 home games in that building. He has been a subject. The program has been a subject in a negative light on this show at least 4 times since we opened the season, and they haven't, they played 1 game of note against Texas that they nearly won. You've had the viral press conference quotes. It's just time to give a change here. We'll see how quickly Josh Harrod, the athletic director, makes a move. Mike Rutherford, although, by the way, who has long since covered that program, lifelong fan of that program, does radio in that city, had a really good piece earlier this week on just the state of apathy with the fan base and what comes next. Everyone there knows what needs to be done, but it truly is a matter of how long it takes to get this done. It would be true malpractice, in my opinion, to continue to have him coach leading up to that Kentucky game. Even if this isn't a world-beating Kentucky team, it's an extremely good Kentucky team that's going to be at the Yum Center. There is no reason to continue the show whatsoever. If you don't get things buttoned up by Sunday, fine, but get it done by Tuesday at the latest here, so that the team can prep and you can let Kenny Payne live with a little bit of peace here. This is, and we are done here.
We will revisit it when we need to revisit it. Moving on, Creighton is 8-2 now with 0 wins over top 50 KenPom teams and 2 blowout losses to Mountain West Conference schools. They might win the Big East, but they would not win the Mountain West. Norlander, should Creighton fans be concerned? We'll get into that next. But first, I need a word from my partner.
Wake up to football highlights and news from around the world with the one and only Morning Footy team.
Rise and shine, football fans. Welcome to Morning Footy.
Start your all-day football craze with Morning Footy, part of the all-new Golazo Network.
Dead leg. Creighton is 8-2. 0 wins over top 50 KenPom teams. 2 blowout losses to Mountain West Conference schools. Should Blue Jay fans be concerned or no big deal? It's early. Relax. Computer numbers still look great.
Have you heard from some Blue Jay fans in the past 2 days?
Have I heard from Blue Jays fans in the past 2 days? I've heard from fans of every other school.
You've heard a lot of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I was on television the other night.
You were. Yeah, you were.
You know, we were doing a 30-minute episode of Inside College Basketball in advance of Creighton UNLV on CBS Sports Network, live from Henderson, Nevada.
Yeah, of course.
And so, I was asked about Creighton, which was like a 15-point favorite in the game.
Well, that immaterial.
And boy, I went into all my stuff. You know how I got all my stuff.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something that some people don't realize. I want to hit you with a number here or there. And I want to explain to you why what this team you're about to watch. Ooh, buddy. You're not just about to watch them play a non-league game in Henderson, Nevada. You're watching a team that could go on to absolutely win the Big East, go to a Final Four, and even capture a national championship. And the great Zoe, she clipped it, put it on Twitter.
We didn't used to have these things shared to social media. You used to say it on television, and it's into the ether. No longer.
Oh, no. Now Zoe can't get it up. Like I say it 45 seconds later, Zoe's got it up on X. All right? And then I watch it, and I'm like, sounds pretty good. Like, I hit every point I wanted to hit. Oh, boy, Creighton fans are going to love this. I'm going to be trending in Omaha soon.
They're not.
So I hit retweet on it. And then UNLV just beat the shit out of them. Oh, my God.
Drop an explicit E on the episode description.
It was bad. Woo. And then people start revisiting the clip. You know, everybody loves to have fun with that.
I couldn't help. I couldn't help but partake as well. I was like, you know what? There's an opportunity here.
I was wrong,
and then I'm not going to pass that by. You are more than welcome for when this happens to me multiple times again later this season to return the favor. Yes.
Here's the thing about talking in advance of things. Even if everything you say sounds exactly right and is rooted in substance, buddy, when they throw a ball up, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Nope.
Right? And so there we were. So and then I had to revisit the clip, and I wanted to make it very clear. If you go watch it, and you can watch it, you can watch it again and watch it again. You can pick apart every word. Nowhere in there did I say Creighton's going to beat UNLV. Never once said that. Never once said that. In fact, the only reason I was talking about Creighton the way I talked about Creighton is because typically going into a game, like in the D block, it will be like, all right, let's get picked from the desk.
Yeah.
Who's taking UNLV? It's and we didn't even do picks because nobody would pick UNLV. And so it would just be like, I guess Creighton will blow them out. I guess Creighton will win by 40. It's Creighton. So it's like, all right, no picks. Let's just talk about Creighton. Cool. I got it. Oh, I know everything about Creighton. Let me go first, please. And we didn't even do picks. But so we did. My point is in the clip, I never once said Creighton would beat UNLV. Yeah. I said Creighton could win a national title, but I never said Creighton would beat UNLV. And here's the great thing. You will not have to beat UNLV to win a national title.
I don't know if you can lose to UNLV and still win a national title. That therein lies the rub, my friend. UNLV is 4-4, 101 at KenPom, has losses at home to Southern, dropped one against Loyola Marymount, beat Florida State, but who hasn't beaten Florida State these days? And has conquered.
Nobody in football.
They're not playing football here, GP. Stetson, Pepperdine, Akron are the victims previously for UNLV. So are you here to maintain your status, your opinion, your declaration? Creighton can win a national championship, even though it lost by 15 points against UNLV in Henderson, Nevada.
Yes.
Okay.
They can. As in it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think Jared Burson would back me up on this one.
I don't know if he would, actually.
I think Jared Burson would back me up on this one.
Not that convinced that is.
He's the man who he discovered ESPN stats and info.
He did not, but I'm sure the people at ESPN Stats and Info appreciate every single time you make that claim on the show.
He did. He invented it.
Creighton has a huge game against Alabama this weekend. Spoiler alert, that game is not in the Final 4-1. So let's talk about Blue Jays, and then we'll hit on this game real quick too. It is an oddity here that Creighton has looked really good against non-Mountain West schools, but when they get caught in the MW, you've heard of the CW, this is the MW. When they get caught in the MW, it goes real wrong, because the other loss, you may recall, is against Colorado State, and that was by 21 points. Meantime, Creighton's most notable wins outside of Mountain West play are against Iowa, Oklahoma State, and Nebraska were both roadies. So there's a decent amount of stuff there, and other than the fact that they are miserable at turning teams over, there's no desire whatsoever. They're literally last in the country in turnover percentage, which is not good. They offset that by having reliable scorers. Shireman, Kalkbrenner, Trey Alexander, they're all averaging between 15 and 18.3 points per game. They foul fewer than any team in the country, so they only average 9.3 fouls per game, which is major. And if they can keep that up, will obviously be something that will statistically benefit them and help them win games moving forward. And they also make 12.1 3-pointers a game, which is second in the country. So they have stuff to offset that. It actually sets up for a pretty fascinating game against Bama, because Alabama is averaging 93 points a game, shooting 49% from the field, and is shooting 41% from 3-point range. So this actually could be a pretty damn entertaining matchup here. You got to figure that Bama is going to be able to get his points, particularly after what it did against Purdue. But Creighton has managed to keep teams to 65 points a night, and total. Keep this in mind for this Bama Creighton game. The teams have only made 49 3-pointers so far against Creighton this season. That's pretty damn impressive there. I still buy Creighton. The loss against UNLV is super weird, and if we get talking on our next show about Bama having won. And here's a programming note. Oh, by the way, because Saturday is so loaded and GP's got some scheduling stuff on Sunday that's just going to make it a tighter squeeze than normal. You will be getting, stay up on Saturday. You will be getting a recap show Saturday night because the slate is so major. So I'll mention that again at the end of the show. But if our Sunday show is getting bumped up a day. So having said that, we'll be coming off this Creighton-Bama game. It's the last big relevant game of the night. And if Bama wins that one, then I think we've got some real questions to address with Creighton, currently top 12 in the AP top 25, and has some good wins, but there is not a standout win just yet. And so, yeah, having gotten throttled by a Colorado State team that projects to make the NCAA tournament, and then getting manhandled by a UNLV team that by no means is on a course to dance come March, it is a bit curious. And on a night when there were two other results that got a lot of noise, being Louisville and another game we're going to get to in just a second here. The Creighton one certainly stands out because I'll tell you this, in all seriousness, it's not normal, and I wish I had the data, but I don't. I'd love to know how many times an eventual national champion lost 2 games by more than 15 points in the non-conference. I'm sure it maybe
Text Jared Burson.
It maybe has happened, but that doesn't seem to be a positive signal. Not that they can't overcome it, but that is the case right now with Creighton. And those 2 games, by the way, came against teams outside the Big Six structure.
Well, the good news is they don't have to play another Mountain West Conference school, not at least till the NCAA tournament.
What if they get a Mountain West school in the first round of the tournament, though? That's
buddy.
Yeah,
I heard Joe Scott was on the phone.
And hold on, yeah. This goes back to last season. Now that you mention it, they lost to San Diego State in the Elite Eight. Wasn't a double-digit ending though. They lost by 1, but
we got to keep them away from the Mountain West.
It actually is. It's
if I heard Joe Scott trying to get a bye game at Creighton.
Yeah,
right now he wants to take Air Force.
Okay,
they're looking around. You know how when the Mountain West Conference coaches get together, it's like, who have you played? Who do you think we could maybe handle? If I were you, I'd go get Creighton. We beat them by 18.
Never forget that GP went on television and said Creighton was good enough to win the national championship, and then it lost in Henderson, Nevada. And the game wasn't even close, by the way.
Not even close. Yeah. They didn't. It was like they were down a bunch, and then they just stayed down a bunch.
You know what you did, and the thing is, you delivered it so well. You were like, hey, listen, all you fools, I got news for you. This team isn't just good enough to go to the Final Four. This team They can win a national championship.
I took it all the way.
That's a tip off. Flash forward 2 hours later.
I took it all the way. I said it. We went to commercial. I was like, Zoe, clip it and post it, Zoe. Clip it and post it. I'm gonna be trending in Omaha.
Oh, were.
It was a nightmare. What are you gonna do? I dropped Creighton out of the top 25 and won.
Oh, look at you.
I mean, what am I supposed to do with you? You lose by 21 to Colorado State, by 15 to UNLV, and you don't have wins to offset it. They're not good. I got to get rid of you. If I can have Ole Miss in with a good enough resume despite terrible computer numbers, then the opposite can be true. I can have Creighton not in, even though they have great computer numbers, because the resume is not good enough. Argue with yourself.
I'm good.
Argue with yourself. So, hey, Saturday night, we're going head-to-head with SNL.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know if it'll be that. We might be done by SNL starting. I think we might be done by then.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Olivia Rodrigo was last weekend.
I don't know what time we're starting on Saturday, by the way, but it'll be after 10 Eastern and before 11 Eastern for sure. GP will be on site at CBS Sports Classic. I'll be in studio all day for CBS Sports HQ. So I think the plan will be for me to boot up from HQ a la what we do for Selection Sunday. It's that kind of Saturday. So just be ready. And if you're listening to this sometime Friday afternoon, evening, even Saturday morning, you know what? If you can make it for the live show on YouTube, get in there. Register to the channel. Hop in the chat. Chat's pretty popping here on a Friday, by the way. We'd love to have you, and there will be plenty to react to.
Hey, before we get to the Final Four and one, let's get some news and notes from Norlander. Deadleg, what else do we need to know from the past couple of days?
All right. Juwan Howard situation here. I think there's a healthy chance we get resolution on this by the end of today, Friday, although it's Michigan, who the hell knows? In speaking to a few folks connected to the program, I would say the expectation that Juwan Howard is not fired, but this is a human resources issue, and so a lot of that is just, speculation by proximity and who truly knows, but it was reinforced to me that the fact that this altercation with the strength coach allegedly wasn't physical is why people believe that Juwan Howard will hold on to his job. That said, HR.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you hear human resources, you typically think of like a traditional workplace environment. We don't often think of basketball practice facilities as a traditional work environment, but like technically it is. In a traditional work environment, an employee on a zero tolerance policy who did just what it is alleged that Juwan Howard did,
right,
would be done.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Juwan Howard is not your typical employee. Obviously,
I got that right. I'm just saying
for our audience.
I understand. I'm not suggesting he should be done. I'm just saying if this were a traditional work environment and HR were involved, he would be done.
Yeah, and then the question becomes: John Sanderson, the strength and conditioning coach, whose tenure with the Michigan basketball program long outdates Howard. He was Beeline's guy. Do they continue working together? If they don't, does he wind up working with other programs? And I actually think, and someone told me this as well, like there's a chance that actually backfires from a PR standpoint, because this is not common in most places, but for the people in that community, that area, John Sanderson is more beloved currently at the moment than Juwan Howard. So that's an interesting situation. We'll see if we get an update here on Friday with his situation. Michigan plays on Saturday against Eastern Michigan. They gotta address this in some sort of fashion here, because Jalen Rose went on Twitter 5 days ago and said Juwan is hoping to return to be the head coach for this game. So hell, we might get it before the podcast is done. If not, you would think sometime on Friday we get an update. Two other ones. Trent, what?
I just love you're always telling people, something could happen or it might not. You're just constantly telling people, hey, I don't really know.
It might happen, it might not. What do you want from me?
You're just constantly reminding people you don't really know anything.
Well, it's the classic reporter thing. It could happen as soon as today. Yeah. Of course it could. Anything could happen as soon as today. I'm hearing this could happen as soon as today. Oh, really? Yes. As opposed to.
And I want to confirm. I have also heard something could happen today or it might not.
Something could. Never know. Transfer situation. Okay. Real quick on this. So Wednesday, you had a circuit judge in West Virginia as part of this sought temporary restraining order brought about by 7 different states. It was ruled on in West Virginia. Raekwon Battle two-time transfer who has been fighting to get eligible at West Virginia, testified in that case. A temporary restraining order was granted, and this created, predictably, a wave of chaos and some, I guess, initial misinformation from the NCAA, wherein from now until December 27th, this judge ruled that there's a temporary restraining order on the NCAA's multi-time undergraduate transfer rule. If you transferred a second time or a third time as an undergrad, you can't be restricted from playing, according to this judge, although his purview of power really is in that state, not nationally. But then the NCAA put out a statement saying it will respect it. And then on Thursday, the NCAA followed up by saying, hey, oh, by the way, yes, these players are now eligible to play during this 2-week-long temporary restraining order, which will then go back to court on the 27th with the NCAA obviously fighting it. However, if you play and the court order winds up getting reversed later this month or in January, then your eligibility is burned as a red shirt and you will not be eligible to play then. So you've got the situation where literally dozens of players and coaches and compliance people are now like, okay, what do we do? So you have seen things. In fact, in the UNLV Creighton game, Keelan Boone played in that game, was a major factor. They played him after this thing got sent out on Wednesday, and I don't want to say Boone was the only factor in UNLV Creighton, but he certainly damn helped if you watch the game. I watched it. I know you watched it. Who the hell knows? I mean, some of these players are probably going to get put on the floor, others will not. But
I know how this works.
They're going
to play, and then the thing's going to get reversed, and then the NCAA is going to say, now you can't play, and then they're going to sue them. And we'll just keep doing this.
It's a great system we got here. Yeah. So that's what people have been tearing their hair out over in NCAA circles for 2 days now. Last one, we have to address this. The biggest upset of the season happened on Wednesday when Chicago State, ranked 335 heading into that game at KenPom, walked right into Welsh Ryan Arena.
Woo.
Chicago State, which has lost more games this century than any other program. That's a Jared Burson special, by the way. Beat a Northwestern team that on that same floor had knocked off Purdue. Chicago State getting its first ranked win in history, getting its first win over a power conference program in its history. Congrats to Jared Gillian and the Cougars. Per Ryan Lindley, who knows Northwestern hoops, he tweeted this at me. Northwestern, now it doesn't get ranked often, but still, Northwestern has not won a game at home while being ranked since 1959. 1959 was the last time that Northwestern won a ranked game at home. Yeah, that's a tough one there. Did you rank Chicago State?
I mean, they're right there. They're right there.
They damn well better be.
Like, I need Jared Burson to look this up. Has a team ever beaten a number one ranked team in the AP poll and lost to a sub 330 team at KenPom in the
same
so.
Month? I don't need any research.
In the same month.
I'm declaring it. It's never happened. This is the first time.
Never happened.
There's like no chance it's ever happened.
And like this happens in a slow week, and it happens with, Northwestern instead of Kentucky, so people don't really even blink too much. But we make such a big deal out of UMBC over Virginia or Fairleigh Dickinson over Purdue, a 16 over a 1. I hope people understand this is even crazier than those things.
Yeah, for sure. They're on the road. Yeah,
it's a true road game, and
the stakes aren't as high. The stakes aren't as high, but it is a wild outcome. In fact, I'm almost positive that the point spread in Chicago State Northwestern was larger than UMBC Virginia. I don't know about Purdue FDU or Purdue. Yeah, I don't know about that one. But anyway, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's going to drag you down on Selection Sunday.
A committee convened actually, and I just got word before the show started. We have the ultra rare, in fact, unprecedented until this point. It's a triple seed line loss by Northwestern.
Oh my God.
Triple has never happened before. Triple.
That's tough.
Triple seed line loss for Northwestern.
That's tough.
The NCAA is actually trying to determine if they will create an entirely new quadrant for this kind of loss. Quad 5. Yeah.
We need a quad 5.
It's a Q5. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody in quad 4 should like stand up and bolt lock the door and be like, we're not letting this in. You got to send this down to quad 5.
Too embarrassing even for us. Yeah.
This is too embarrassing even for us.
Yeah.
Send this down to quad 5. Hey, are you ready to do the final 4 and 1?
Word from our partners.
I need one. Give me one.
Partners.
You need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
Oh, it's what you've been waiting for. It's the final 4 and 1, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. I think I've been mounted.
You have been side mounted.
Damn it.
Yep. It's a classic side mount situation.
What are our updated records? I think they're 13, 11, and 1.
That's right.
All right, but this
And
is
your
where
guy
I
went
make
four.
my-
Hold on, your guy went 4-1 last week. So yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You got a
You
little
won
too
the
cocky.
week.
You got.
You won the week. You won the week.
Yep.
But you don't win the war in the week.
Not. I need that music.
You're bragging about winning battles.
Give me that.
I'm
bass
trying to
drum
win
right now.
wars. You're bragging about winning little battles.
No, don't make me hit this over on my end here.
I'm over
Here
here
we
trying to win.
go.
I'm over here trying to win wars. Game 1.
Let's go set up just a little bit, Nada.
Game 1. Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Look, you're all grossed up, and you're all grossed up, and you're all grossed up. You're picking Friday games with regularity. I am proud of you.
I swear I used to say I would never do this, but I used to also say I would never wear Uggs. But sometimes it's cold outside.
Well, we all make mistakes.
But sometimes it's so cold and they're so soft. Number 5 UConn versus number 10 Gonzaga inside Lane Staley Arena.
I'll take it.
You can watch it on ESPN2. Oh, man, Friday. This is a good night to be in a hotel room in Atlanta.
What's your favorite Alice in Chains song?
One where Lane Staley and Jerry Cantrell are harmonizing. I think
Okay,
that's the best.
That's 78% of them.
Right. I mean, the first song that jumps into my head is Wood.
Wood is top 5.
Wood is great. Wood is great. You know what?
And
Like
it's
I
not
randomly
Wood, it's
ran into
Wood.
Alice in Chains. I randomly ran into Alice in Chains a few months ago. I don't even know how it happened. And I was like, I like Alice in Chains. I love those songs.
Great song. Nutshell would be my answer. Thanks for asking.
That's a great one. That's a great one. I love those songs. UConn minus 4.5. That's what FanDuel has.
And this is a line, by the way, because we've had it available because it's a Friday game. The ones upcoming are all going to be Ken Pom projected lines because the actual lines aren't available on Friday for Saturday tips. These teams have played 6 times. UConn is 4-2 in the history. Obviously, last season won by 28 in the tournament. The other 5 games, though, in this history of the series, dating back to 98-99, all been decided by 5 points or fewer. UConn has passed the test, to say the least, to this point in the season. The only loss on the road against Kansas by 4 points. This game, not a road game, as GP noted. Lane Staley Arena, also known as Climate Pledge Arena. Huskies, do they get a big game out of Klingon in this one? Or is this going to be the Tristan Newton show again? Stephon Castle obviously is getting better with each returning game. Cam Spencer, whose look of black shoes on white socks, I can't get enough of it. He will trash talk anybody. We'll see on that. Hey, a quick question for you before I pick the game. I know you. I'm not even gonna ask if you saw because I already know you saw how Sydney Sweeney presented a basketball signed by the entire Gonzaga team to Jimmy Fallon earlier this week on his show. You saw that?
Yes, Sydney Sweeney and Graham Ike confirmed.
Not confirmed. I will not associate myself with reckless speculation and rumor mongering.
I heard Graham Ike and Sydney Sweeney were spotted at a Christmas-themed party with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. That's what I heard.
I had no idea Jimmy Fallon was even a Gonzaga fan, and I didn't know Sydney Sweeney was from Spokane. She said that on the clip there. So
I know I've known all these things.
You have. Okay.
I know everything about Sydney Sweeney.
We know that. Let's keep it moving here. Why did I bring it up? I will take. You said 4.5?
4.5. That's what FanDuel said. Make every moment more.
Does it feel like to you, Gonzaga, best win so far against UCLA and USC on neutral floors? Do you feel like Gonzaga still needs we still need to know a bit more about this team for as good as Mark Few has been? You know, it lost against Washington just last weekend. It got taken out by 10 in Maui by Purdue. I feel like we know all the answers to Gonzaga 6 weeks into the season, Parrish?
No, I think I know Gonzaga's good. Good. I don't know if Gonzaga is one of the top 10 teams in the country. I need to see more to establish that. But I think it's clear they're good. They're good. Like if you were going, this is the year they really slip. If by really slip you meant to 22 instead of 2, maybe. But I still think this is going to be a forever top 25 team.
It's the last big non-con game of the season for Gonzaga until the road one against Kentucky, which I love the fact that is going to be in the middle of February. Cross-country flight, I will take Gonzaga inside the number here, but to me, this is like a top 3 toughest game to pick this weekend because I can see UConn winning by 15 because of how good it's been at the top. But I will go Zags inside the number.
I wrote about this in the top 25 and 1 on Friday morning. Do you agree with me? Tristan Newton should be considered, even though Tyler Kolek is the reigning Big East Player of the Year. Right now, Tristan Newton should be considered the favorite to be Big East Player of the Year.
Yeah, that is for sure the case. If you've watched the games, if you've seen what he's done, if you look at his stat line, I haven't checked this week, but when I wrote on him, 8 days ago, he was the only player in the country averaging at least 17 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. And as of Friday, see where he is in the Player of the Year at KenPom. As of Friday, he's 5th. Yeah, so he's 5th. He's 5th, and he's the highest. I consider Terrence Shannon more of like a forward wing, frankly, than a guard. Tristan Newton, if you take that definition, he's the highest ranked guard in the K-Play.
17 points, 7.2 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1.5 steals in 31.5 minutes per game. He has been terrific. He's the main reason UConn is 9-1 with the lone loss coming by 4 points at Kansas. I think UConn is the better team, but I'll just take Gonzaga plus 4.5 points in Lane Staley Arena. I mean, with the ghost of Lane Staley looking down, you're not going to lose by more than four points with the ghost of Lane Staley looking around. Not in Seattle. I wouldn't think. So give me the Zags plus the 4.5.
Big spot here for Ryan Nembhard, by the way. He's been good, but I would say there's definitely room for him to grow to play up to expectation. We'll see if he steps up in this one.
Game 2, Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. It's number 2 Kansas at that Blue Blood, Indiana.
Should I just
inside Yogi Ferrell Hall. Okay. You can watch it on CBS. It's America's most watched network. It's the network of stars. Kim Pop has it Kansas -6. And I know what you're thinking, Deadleg. Why are you naming it after Yogi Ferrell? There's been so many great Hoosiers come through that place. Why do you bestow this honor on Yogi Ferrell? And to that, I would say, well, you know why, dum-dum. It's because Yogi Ferrell was the leading scorer the last time Indiana finished in the top 25 at KenPom. He's now 30 years old. He's now 30 years old and playing basketball in Montenegro. He was the leading scorer the last time Indiana finished top 25 at KenPom.
Hunter Dickinson returns to Indiana, by the way. Seems like they're not going to be that that cheery with him. I think Indiana fans are going to be all too eager to boo on the big man, former Michigan player, of course. This is the 16th time these two schools have met. Trivia time. Who leads the all-time series?
I mean,
it's 2 Blue Bloods. Who leads the all-time series between Kansas and Indiana?
Well, usually I just say Indiana because Indiana's a Blue Blood, and I mean, you should just assume Blue Bloods do awesome stuff all the time, right?
Okay, what's your answer?
I mean, this one doesn't. This one doesn't, but it's a safe assumption to make. I mean, I'm going to go with Indiana. Christ.
Indiana leads.
It's Indiana.
8-7. 8-7.
Yeah, it's Indiana.
Kansas has never won at Assembly Hall. Has played there 3 times previously. 71, 73, and 94. All Jayhawk L's. In fact, how about this? The last time these teams played in Bloomington was almost 29 years ago to the day. Indiana was unranked. Kansas was number 3 in the country, and Indiana beat them by 19 points on that day in 1990.
Oh yeah, they're still hanging on to that.
Well, these teams met last year. Kansas.
No, that's like one of the big highlights of the past 30 years.
Kansas beat them by 22 in Lawrence last year, and Kansas is 9-1 in his last 10 games against Big Ten opponents. This is the 50th game Indiana has ever played against a top 2 opponent in the AP poll. KU is, of course, number 2. The last time Indiana won a game against a top 2 opponent at home, Christian Watson, the Watt shot. That was December of 2011.
Watford?
Did I say Watson?
I think so.
Watson! Might be. I think this is sneaky good right here. A couple of teams with plenty of height to go around. We'll see how much Kansas can use its bench or if it needs to. This is the first road game for Kansas this season. KU in its starting lineup certainly has more experience than Indiana. What's that number again per Ken Pom?
6.
I will take Indiana because someone has to stand up for the Hoosiers on this podcast, and we all know sure as hell it's not you.
It is me.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
You are the gaslight king. Just
no.
Get it over with.
I see it in the chat
and get it over with.
Because I see it in the chat. People are like, "Let's not overthink this." It's Kansas against. It depends. I'll just state these factually because I don't know which one you want to go with. All right. Some people prefer one computer. Some people prefer other computers. I don't want to be biased. All right. So I'll just say both, and you can use whichever one you want. Some people are like, this is Kansas against just the 4th best team in Indiana, according to Ken Pom, or the 6th best team in Indiana, according to the net. Now, I'm not here to tell you which one to believe. You can pick. It's up to you. I don't care. So I get it when people on a surface level are like, it's Kansas against the 4th best or 6th best team in the state of Indiana. What are you even doing? But here's the thing. This is a blue blood program we're talking about in Indiana. And it doesn't matter that they haven't finished in the top 25 at Ken Pom since 2016. And it doesn't matter that they have underachieved every year under Mike Woodson relative to their preseason Ken Pom ranking. In year 1, started 30th, finished 48th. In year 2, started 12th, finished 30th. In year 3, started 50th, and is currently all the way down at 78. I'm still going to believe in blue blood programs.
Well, there are 2 of them in this game, so you have a lot of leeway right now.
Yeah, but what I'm believing in specifically as it pertains to this is that no blue blood program should ever be given 6 points at home, regardless of the competition.
Okay.
Like blue blood program at home against 96 Bulls, the number should never be more than +6. It's outrageous. It's a blue blood program at home. You don't give it 6 points. So I don't know what's going on with the computers that are spitting this out, but it seems pretty clear to me we reached the point where they're not properly respecting blue blood programs at home. So I'm taking Indiana plus the 6. Not going to trick me.
First of all, we have doomed this program. We both took Indiana here.
Yeah, +6. You can't give a blue blood program 6 points at home. That's crazy.
I got a woodpecker on the side of my office right now. Are you kidding me?
I got leaf blowers in my backyard. Can you hear it?
Serious problem with the double Indiana pick.
Have you heard leaf blowers?
Shut up. I got a woodpecker. Where the hell is this thing? Call the next game. Hold on. I'm not letting this thing tap into my side of my house. Give the layout for the next one.
You're going to go kill a bird. You're going to go kill a bird right during the final 4-1. Deadlake's going to assassinate a bird. I just think details aside, I don't think you should ever give a blue blood program 6 points at home. That seems crazy to me. Even one that hasn't finished in the top 25 at Ken Pom since 2016. Even one like that. I would never give it 6 points.
I assume you've it's one thing after another with the animals on this show, by the way. I assume you've read the setup for the Purdue Arizona game, right?
No, I was just still trying to hammer home the point that I think it's crazy to give a blue blood program 6 points at home.
Let's go.
As much as I respect Kansas, and I have identified them on a previous podcast as the team I still think is most likely to win the national championship, you just can't give a blue blood program like
let's go,
like Indiana You can't give a blue blood program like Indiana 6 points at home, even if it is technically either the fourth or sixth best team in the state of Indiana right now, according to Kenny Payne and the net. Game 3, Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, number 1 Arizona versus number 3 Purdue inside David Letterman Fieldhouse. You can watch it on Peacock. Kenny Payne has it Purdue -1.
Can you say that one more time?
You can watch it on Peacock.
Oh,
I can't wait.
My
I
apologies
can't wait to
to
watch
anyone
somebody get
driving,
mad about Peacock. They're going to be a 71-year-old Purdue fan
one
who grew up
by a million.
Grew up with Rick Mount. Going to be like, I can't figure out what channel this game's on. What channel are the Boilermakers on? That's coming. Oh, I can't wait to do a search. Buddy, at 4:45 Eastern, I'm just Twitter searching Peacock. I can't wait.
What else is new? All right. As to the game, yes, this is. We've mentioned it multiple times leading up to Friday. This is your last reminder. And if you're into Arizona and Purdue, you're aware of this. But if you're just a college basketball fan, if you want to watch the game, you need a login to Peacock. The free trial, however you got to do it, whatever. Make sure you're there because this is obviously the biggest matchup of the weekend. Number 1 versus number 3. It's just the how many times since we have this in my notes here. We have had a top 3 matchup 7 times since the 2010-2011 season. We've had 2 teams in the top 3. We get it here on Saturday. One reason why I love this game so much is that both of these teams, like, we're rewarded as college basketball fans. The sport is rewarded. Arizona and Purdue have 2 of the most ambitious non-conference schedules in the entire country. And, oh, by the way, they're both, top 3 teams at this point in the season. So they scheduled tough, and they have matched that, ambition to this point in the season. Arizona with the win against Duke. Obviously, Michigan State, we'll get to them in a second, but Arizona has a win over them. A recent destruction of Wisconsin. Now you got Purdue. Bama still waiting on Arizona's schedule, and so is FAU, oh, by the way. So that's impressive. And then Purdue, it's one after another after another. I mean, it had Gonzaga, Tennessee, Marquette, and Maui, and it had the win over Bama. Now it's got Arizona here. So really, really impressive stuff, and I cannot wait for this game. How Umar Ballo defends Zach Edey, we'll have to see on that. The last time the Boilermakers won, here's a nice little coincidence. Last time Purdue won against a number 1 team was in Indianapolis 23 years ago against Arizona when it was number 1.
That was also on Peacock.
It definitely was not. So, a little universe winking situation here. Purdue right now and Arizona, 2 of the best offensive teams in the country. Arizona is assisting on almost every single bucket it makes, 21 out of 34, and it's forcing 15 turnovers a game. So the pressure, Arizona's defense, something to be reckoned with here, and we'll see if Caleb Love can show up. He leads the team in scoring, 14 a night. Also is averaging 5 boards, and importantly, 4.5 assists. He's still just down at 30% from 3-point range, but he's coming off his best game of the season against Wisconsin. Pelle Larsson, by the way, is as well. I cannot wait for this one. I will take. First of all, how many? How we think of what, like 70% of the building is Purdue backed? Arizona fans will travel, but this is going to be a heavy Purdue contingent in here.
It'll look like West Lafayette in downtown Indianapolis.
This is game 3, so no matter who I pick, you're going the opposite, by the way.
No, maybe not. It depends. This is going to depend because I've got strategy. I've developed a strategy. I found a flaw in the system.
I'm sure you did. What the hell? I'll take Arizona. Arizona to cover.
You fell for it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You fell for it.
Yeah, okay.
You fell for it.
Here we go. Yeah.
You think you could take the number 1 team in the country as an underdog and feel good about it? Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
How's this worked out for you the previous 2 times you've done this season? The previous 15 times you've done it on the podcast?
You're not thinking about this properly. I was wrong. You're not thinking about this properly.
Yeah.
You got to work through it. Everything is connected.
Yep. Let's hear the conspiracy theory. Let's go.
Everything is connected.
Yep.
Now
Right.
think about this.
Okay.
Indiana's an interesting state. All right? It's an interesting state because they got a blue blood program.
All
Let me say it
right,
again.
already. Let's go.
No, you need to understand this. You're going to keep making these mistakes until you understand this. This is what I tell my kids all the time. Like, you need to know why you keep making this mistake. It's what I tell Draymond Green all the time. You need to know why this is happening so that you can prevent it from happening.
Okay.
You don't see what you don't see. Indiana is an interesting state. It has a blue blood program, but that blue blood program is only the 4th or 6th best team in the state, depending on what computer you're looking at. Now, do you know what team is the best in the state? No matter what computer you're looking at, Purdue. So think about this. Blue blood program is only 4th or 6th best. And then you got this other thing that is number 1 everywhere. That means it's like that much better than a blue blood program. And you only have to lay 1 point with them in their home state. What are we talking about?
And that's ankle deep analysis, by the way. This is what you come to the show for.
A Purdue team that is that much better than a blue blood program in its own state gets to play in its own state and only has to lay 1 point. Forget about it. Purdue, give me the Boilermakers. Zach Edey goes for 24 and 14.
Let's go. How about that? How about with a little combined Edey over under boards and points? I'll set the line. You said 24 and 14. So what the hell? I'll put it at. I got to put 0.5. Yeah, 38.5. You going
over? I'm going over my own.
Well,
over.
you just said under.
Yeah, but now I got fired up.
Okay.
I got gassed up a little bit. I'm going over.
I'll go under. 38.5. 38.5. Hey, Nada, if you can change the poll real quick, and I'll give the results at the end of the show. Over under. See what the audience on the YouTube show says. Over under 38.5 combined points and boards for Edey against Arizona on Saturday. Get it in there, and the people listening, I'll give the results at the end of the show.
Game 4, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Number 9 North Carolina versus number 14 Kentucky inside Ronald Acuna Jr. Arena. You can watch it on CBS. It's America's most watched network. It's the network of stars. KenPom has it UNC -2.
Ooh. Do we
Wait
think
till
that
Big
will be
Blue
the action
Nation-
when the
Wait till Big Blue
FanDuel
Nation hears about that.
when we wake up on Saturday morning and we're going to make every moment more? Do we think the FanDuel line will actually be UNC favorite in this game?
I think it'll be UNC -1, Pick'em, something. I think it'll be less than that.
Kentucky averaging 90.6 points a game this season. I got a great note on Rob Dillingham. This is courtesy of our CBS Sports researchers. He's averaging 14 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 4.9 assists. Dillingham is. He's the 4th freshman under Cal to do that. Trivia time! Who are the other 3?
Okay, give it to me again. 14 points.
There's only been 3 previous players as freshmen at Kentucky to average at least 14, 4, and 4 in a season. Dillingham currently crosses those thresholds. Who are the other 3 to do it?
Jamal Murray.
Incorrect.
Damn. I was wrong. John Wall.
You got it. 1 out of 3.
4 and 4. Shai Gilgeous.
Yeah, Mr. Gilgeous did it indeed. A nice harbinger omen for what he would be as a pro there. He is the second of the 3, and who's the other one?
He's so awesome. John Wall, Shai Gilgeous. I can't believe Jamal Murray's not one.
Nah.
I don't know.
Brandon Knight.
Yep, that makes sense.
Brandon Knight's the other one. Dillingham right now, shooting 48% from the field, shooting 51.4% from three-point range. Reed Shepherd has been the best freshman in the country, but Dillingham is a top 5 guy, no doubt about it. And how those guards match up, like how big will RJ Davis wind up being in this game? Cormac Ryan has obviously showed out well. And then you got an intriguing big man situation. Aaron Bradshaw continues to come along, going up against Armando Bacot, as seasoned of a veteran as we can really have in this sport from a big man perspective. So GP will be on hand. He'll be on site. This is a wonderful CBS Sports Classic matchup here. It is the marquee game. We'll get to the undercard here in just a minute. I will take Kentucky. I will take Kentucky in this spot. And both teams. I just like the fact that both teams. We got 2 blue bloods, not in the state of Indiana, ranked in the top 15, that are making positive strides after an offseason of curiosity and some semi-skepticism. They've done well for themselves. I want to see how UNC responds. They got overwhelmed by UConn. Kentucky's not UConn, but they got overwhelmed on a neutral site recently by another blue blood. We'll see how they handle it here. I'll take Kentucky. If it's UNC +2, I'm taking Kentucky against that number.
Imagine if Kentucky were a blue blood program, but only like the 4th or 6th best team in the state. That'd be wild, wouldn't it?
It would be apocalyptic.
You know, it would. I'll also take Kentucky. I think these are comparable teams. I think Kentucky will have a crowd advantage. State Farm Arena down in Atlanta. Kentucky fans, man, they know how to fill up a building. I think Kentucky has a crowd advantage in Atlanta, and that's the difference. Kentucky wins a close one. I'll take the Wildcats +2.
All right, some other games to know on Saturday. Baylor, Michigan State is a 2 Eastern tip on Fox. MSU is not off to its worst start ever under Tom Izzo. In 03-04, it started 5-7 and rallied to make the tournament. It might have been a 7 seed that season. The time is now for MSU, but that is a hell of a game there against Baylor in Detroit. You've got Texas A&M going up against Houston. That is not at Houston; it is in Houston. 2:30 Eastern tip on ESPN2. Just a loaded Saturday here, folks. Clemson plays at Memphis at 3 Eastern. Because we have, a bunch of bowl games on Saturday, that's an ESPN Plus game, but undefeated Clemson at a really good Memphis team. That's another one worth watching that we'll no doubt address on our Saturday night show. You've got 8-2 FAU against 7-2 St. Bonaventure and Springfield. I actually think it's a big game for both these teams. The A-10's got a little bit of promise at the top here, so Bonaventure, you got a window. See if you can capture it. Meanwhile, FAU has a game against Arizona lurking next weekend. You want to go at least 1-1 in these next two, so we'll see if they can get it done. Chicago State against DePaul, 5:30 Eastern, Fox Sports 1. That's right, 5:30 Eastern, Fox Sports 1. Chicago State going for the Windy City sweep, the rarely accomplished Windy City sweep. We'll see if the Cougars can get it done. I think they have a chance, and if they do, we might have to add Tony Stubblefield to that discussion. And then another huge game, again, as previously mentioned, you've got Alabama this is at Creighton. That's an 8 Eastern tip on Fox. For our Saturday night show, that game will end. GP will be back at his hotel room by that point. I'll have to do some studio stuff with HQ. So the target is maybe to get booted up by about 10:40 Eastern, but it depends on the flow of that game. And I'm going to have to do some highlights and analysis on the desk there in Stamford. On Sunday, here are the games on Sunday we will not have a Sunday, barring major news. We won't plan on doing a Sunday show, but keep an eye on Syracuse versus Oregon, 1 Eastern, CBS Sports Network. That game will be in the Pentagon, South Dakota. CBS Sports Network, Syracuse versus Oregon. A fairly important non-con matchup for both those teams trying to build a semblance of a resume to get in at large. You've got USC at Auburn, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Bronny James goes on the road. A very big game for USC. We previously talked about why with its schedule issues. And then 8-2 Nebraska at 8-2 Kansas State. It's also that's a pretty decent game between former intra-conference foes. Obviously, those teams are in different leagues now. The and one, I'm sticking with the company line here because also you've got plenty of urgency with this one. UCLA and Ohio State. What did you call this? Where are they playing this game at?
Ronald Acuna Arena.
So there we go. 3 Eastern tip, CBS. You'll get Kansas at Indiana first, then you'll get Ohio State, UCLA, and then you'll get UNC and Kentucky triple header Saturday on CBS for you. You're going to be at this game. Mick Cronin is going to coach in this game. When you're in the same area as Mick Cronin, like what's that situation like? Like, how's that play out? Are you renting a 2-seat bicycle and pedaling around town? Like, are you walking into diners and like sitting on the same side of the booth? Do you see each other and just like instantly start finishing each other's sentences? How does that usually go?
It's the first. We get a 2-seater bike. We pedal around.
Yeah, cool.
Mick and I will be pedaling around Atlanta later tonight.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful scene. If anyone sees Mick Cronin and GP out there, twins separated at birth, just pedaling all around the A. Please snap a picture and send it over to us. We'd love to have that. Ohio State, UCLA, Ken Palm. What do you think the line is at Ken Palm for this one? Well, if you had to guess, I'm going to give it to you, but the old guess the line bit. What do you
Ohio
think?
State -3.
It is. I think you looked at it.
I mean, I'm staring at it. What are you talking about? Jesus Christ! It's like on the screen in front of me.
I don't have I had Ken Pom up. I don't have the actual show in my view.
It'd be like you asking me right now. What do you think my shirt says? Take a guess.
GP, I'm wearing a band shirt. I'm trying something new for the podcast. I put a band t-shirt on. If you had to guess, what would I be wearing right now?
I don't. Hold on. Let me guess.
For the people that aren't watching, internal trivia time. What band am I wearing? See if you can guess. Canadian band. See if you can get it before GP says it. All right, say it. What am I wearing?
Rush.
We love Rush. Anyway, the line is 3, and I had it on the screen, and I had no idea. Ohio State -3. Who you got?
I mean, what do you want me to do? It's a blue blood program catching points. What do you want me to do? And it's not just any blue blood program. This is one that actually consistently finishes in the top 25 at Ken Pom. What do you want me to do?
That might be up for debate this season.
Could be. I'm taking the Bruins +3. And I don't mean that disrespectfully towards Ohio State and Chris Holtmann. He doesn't get the respect he deserves.
To give him credit, and I can't help but respect you for it.
Chris Holtmann doesn't get the credit he deserves. That's been going on for years.
Yeah.
This one tears my heart in half, making me pick between Chris Holtmann and Mick Cronin. It tears my heart in half. But I'll just take the points. I think they're comparable teams. If I can get 3 points with either one of them. How about this? If you made it UCLA -3, I would take Ohio State +3. I just want the 3 points. I don't care who I got. I want 3 points.
Bruins averaging just 69 points a game this season. That's lowest in the Pac-12, and they're one of the slowest teams in the country right now. Just about 65 possessions a game adjusted for competition there. Ohio State, meantime, it's got some real three-point attack to it. It's got 5 players shooting at least 40% from 3 this season. Scotty Middleton, Roddy Gale, Bruce Thornton. If you have not seen Bruce Thornton yet, he is emerging as one of the most valuable players in the Big Ten. Jamison Battle and Dale Bonner, all shooting well from 3. Ohio State's actually also a really good team on the offensive boards. UCLA has some height to it. We'll see what it can do in this one. It's a big game for UCLA, as previously mentioned. Does not have a win of note yet this season. And let me bring up the schedule for the Bruins here. So they got Ohio State here. They still have a home tip against Maryland, but guess what? That's going to be like a quad 2 game. It could, if it really falls through the floor for Maryland, it's a quad 3, but it'll probably be a quad 2. So if UCLA loses on Saturday, it will get out of non-con without a quad 1 win, and none of the previous ones are going to elevate to that status. That's an issue for the Bruins here. I'll take Ohio State in this one, favored by 3, but I could see UCLA pulling out. I'll take Ohio State. I went on Adam Jardy's podcast earlier this week, as GP has done in the past.
Love Adam Jardy.
Wonderful beat writer, covers Ohio State, and we talked about the game. But I also brought up that, in relation to what we started the show with, when Louisville opens on the list of 5 or 6 most, when those lists come out, the job opens, who are names? Both these coaches will be attached to that list for the Louisville opening. Mick Cronin and Chris Holtmann will both be considered candidates or sensible targets for the job here. They just happen to be facing each other in this game. Yeah. So did we agree? No, we disagree. So we disagree on 2 of those games. There we go. Yeah. Nada, what's what?
I'm just going to keep taking Blue Bloods plus points.
What is our Nada? What is our poll split right now? Over under 38.5 points and boards for Edie. What does the audience say?
58% says over.
58% says over. 58% is with GP. I got one more thing before we get out of here.
Oh, great.
Did you happen to watch Jeopardy on Thursday?
No.
Oh, you're not ready for this. Nada?
The Campbell Fighting Camels are from near the Cape Fear River in this state. Young ship.
Where's Maine?
Sorry, no. Garrett?
Is Florida?
That's also incorrect. Andrew? I'm good. Andrew's winning by doing nothing. What is North Carolina? Garrett, you select.
What's going on?
I think what we had there, first of all, this isn't a front to the podcast, but they just had 3 thems on Jeopardy.
Yes. I'm clear.
Unquestionably.
I mean, I'm not sure you can even get on Jeopardy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, take it easy.
You know what I'm saying?
No. Alex Trebek was one of us. Let's be clear on that.
Oh yeah, you can host Jeopardy.
Okay,
but I don't know if you can get on Jeopardy if you're an us.
I think if you can knock out every Jeopardy question,
You got some real dim qualities.
Oh gosh, it's problematic. How are you not gonna know? It's offensive, but I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it pop across the timeline there. Fighting camel content. It had been genuinely a while since we last talked about the Fighting Camels from Campbell from Bowie's Creek, North Carolina. 5-6 on the season. I regret to inform that the 3 most recent wins for Kevin McGeehan's team have come against non-Division I competition. They haven't won a D1 game since November 22nd. Next game comes Monday at home against Morgan State, which is 4-8, and also has 3 wins against non-D1 teams. That is your Fighting Camels content on this Friday night. I think we can get out of here.
Final 4-1 is set. This is the weekend I plan to create an insurmountable lead. Presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Shouts to Devin Downey. Shouts to Chester, South Carolina. Shouts to Terry M.F. and Teagle. Legend. Hook. Larnell. Thank you guys once again for listening and watching the Eye on College Basketball Podcast. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe anywhere you subscribe to podcasts, including Apple and Spotify. There's more of us than there are of them.
How you going to say Florida, man? They're putting camels in Florida?
I mean, maybe.
In all seriousness, you get on Jeopardy. What's your final money total?
Oh, negative. So
Negative?
I'm really stupid.
Okay.
I really don't know a lot. I would be terrible. I don't really know that much.
Okay.
Like, I'm good at talking about stuff, but I don't know a lot.
You know what I do we watch it every so often, like maybe once or twice a week, just because it happens to be on before we rally the kids to go to bed. And my wife loves giving me crap over this, as she should, because every so often, like they'll have a clue that comes up on the screen, and I'll say the answer in my head, but I won't say it out loud. Like sometimes I'll say it out loud, sometimes I won't, and then it'll be the answer, and I'll say, "Damn it, Matt, you knew it. Why didn't you say it?" And she's just like, "Shut up." Say it or don't say anything. It'll happen every so. It happened on a clue last night. I can't remember which one it was, but I'm like, why didn't you say it? Jeopardy heads know what I'm talking about. I got you above. I got you clearing. I got you out of there with the cool 1200.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm giving you a cool.
I appreciate the confidence.
1200. You're the third person at the end there. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd just be like buzzing in, and I'd be like, "What is UMass Lowell?" You know, that's all I know how to do. I would just do "What is UMass Lowell" over and over again, and just hope I get lucky. It's tough out there.
Saturday night, be there.
Sometime. Oh, I'm so glad Olivia Rodrigo was last weekend. We caught a break there. We'll talk to you again real soon. Till then, take care.